So this is just going to be for Mac to start, and then if I'm bringing a new idea to it, I'll expand on it, right? But right now I'm just explaining this to Mac, and it's just a concept of why Premiere doesn't work in the community the way that they want it to work. So basically, the whole video itself will just be a reaction video to Fl0m's video about my thoughts on Counter-Strike 2 so far. And I think I'm gonna start it with just Fl0m. The video itself is just Fl0m going over everything. So all of this is way over my head. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm here because I'm passionate about Valve's ELO system, and that's all I'm really talking about. So but I'm choosing Fl0m because out of all the videos I've seen on Counter-Strike, this is the most comprehensive and well thought out, and he's actually been a part of the process the whole time. So I chose this video for that reason. Fl0m is just a smart guy. But let's get into it. I'm gonna bring all these points up, and then once you watch it, you can tell me how you feel.
For sure about the game. And then obviously, I think for a lot of people right now, Premiere is just, it could have been so good, and right now it's just bad. I hate saying it because I think what makes Premiere feel even worse is the fact that we can now all see how good it can and should be, and it's right there, and it's just not. I think a bit.
Okay, so the main reason I want to make this video is that like it seems like one of the and like this is also, you got to help me with tone here. It seems like Fl0m is saying that the community doesn't understand why matchmaking is broken on the upper end. So the video is just about explaining why the matchmaking is just completely broken. And it's because of Faceit servers and the top player base not playing on Valve official servers. And it's like a snowballing effect, right? So so Fl0m just said, like, okay, it has the potential to be great, but it's not. And everything else he's going to say in the next 2 minutes, after I explain the idea behind it, Fl0m will just, every critique he has kind of emphasizes my point, right? So let's first look at the rank distribution, right? As far as I could tell, Rap got stuck at the bottom tier of the rank distribution. Rap got stuck at 1K and couldn't go below it. And then you can look at this and notice how it doesn't become a bell curve, right? And zero and blah blah blah. The 99.98 percentiles, 20,000 right there. Here's the real problem, okay? This should actually end at 16 right here. The reason that it doesn't is because as soon as you get to right around here, everyone switches to Faceit. So this whole entire, from here on out, this is only played on VAX servers by cheaters or just people that like don't know what's going on, right? So the community, as you have said and as I have known for the last decade, has always said that Valve's VAX system is garbage, so we're going to make our own community-based ELO system. It's called Faceit. We're going to spend our own money, and we're going to dump a pile of money and resources and time into making Faceit. It'll make our own ranking, and it will have our own VAX system, right? When you do that, it ruins the actual game because Valve can't take all of the data from the upper end to, one, make the VAX system work. But then two, this doesn't get squeezed down because none of the top end play. This should not be 30,000. This should be the top end of this chart should be 16K. The reason that it goes beyond 16K is because everything beyond here is VAC. VAC doesn't work because nobody plays in VAC official servers because they already decided to play Faceit So it's a compounding effect. If the community doesn't understand that they're causing in-game matchmaking to break because they're not playing in the game, then it'll never be fixed, right? So then, like, that's the idea of it, right? And I'm not sure if the community knows, so like this is where the tone matters, right? But let's just go through Fl0m's things and I'll show you the points I'm trying to make when I'm talking about like every point Fl0m makes, I can make a counterpoint to how Faceit has ruined it. So we'll do that.
Big part of that is the cheating situation, but I think also something that gets overshadowed by the cheating is I think the system itself is still just not good. The fact that 5 stacks are playing in solo queues, and I benefited from that, but also I never wanted to solo queue because it created an environment where I would play and people weren't the same rank as me. Like they weren't.
So what? Yeah, because that's how the community decided to set it up, right? Obviously, when you get out of Faceit as a, I'm assuming Fl0m is a, the 0.001, the top Counter-Strike guy. He looks the part, he talks the part, he walks the part, right? So when Fl0m leaves Faceit and goes into play a regular game, he's the only one who's doing it, right? So he's immediately going to get put down into a lobby that's at least 10K below him, or he's getting put into a lobby that's all cheaters because all the non-cheaters are on Faceit servers. So it's a compounding effect too, because then Fl0m's going to go back to Faceit and he's going to tell everybody it's still broken, so no one's going to leave Faceit to go fix this.
They weren't even close to my skill level, and that isn't just an ego. I don't know what was going on, but if I solo queued, I'm dropping 30 kills or more.
I'm also going to mention over in Dota, it is unheard of that anybody above like what is immortal in here? I think it's like global sniper leader, whatever the hell. Anybody who's in the top 1% of your video game should only solo queue. The idea that you can't solo queue is ridiculous. And like the idea that you would even think of not of doing anything but solo queuing as a 1% pluser is completely wrong.
And it didn't feel good. It just felt like I was smurfing. It wasn't engaging at all. I play Counter-Strike to be
Because all the
competitive. I
actual
want
players
to
are in
engage
Faceit.
me in that way. Stomping people for some people might be fun, but for me, it was incredibly underwhelming. So I'd have to 5-stack to play with people that I obviously at least feel like are comparable to my.
Okay, so now we can double back to why nobody 5-stacks once you're in the 1%. Do you know how impossible it is to balance out an elo of a bunch of 1%ers on the off chance that maybe there's another 5-stack of 1%ers? It's not a thing. So just the idea that like in order to fix my solo queue with a 5-stack is like coming from Dota, this makes no sense at all. Just because that's not how the elo at the upper end is supposed to work, and the elo at the upper end is completely broken because everyone's on Faceit. And when you remove your top percentage of your MMR distribution or your bell curve, the rest of the bell curve doesn't fucking work because you don't have any data from your top player sets. So the VAC system doesn't work because all of the people reporting the VAC banners are on Faceit. And everybody who's on regular Valve servers are all VACing, so none of them are going to report themselves. And at this point, VAC bans are based off of looking at someone who's not cheating and then looking at someone who is cheating at the highest level. From what I've seen on who was the guy who got banned at a actual event. Like it's not like it's easy to just be like, oh, he's cheating. Like you need a lot of players to be reporting people in order to get your VAC ban list, which is also why Faceit has a better VAC system and a cheat system, because anytime somebody cheats on Faceit, they're instantly reported. So you don't get the good VAC system if nobody plays on the VAC system. It's a compounding effect because all of the people that you need data from are on a completely different server, the Valve's not going to fix it. And they also have no incentive to fix it, right? Why would they spend millions of dollars and hire a bunch of people when the community has already been doing it for them? And so, like, they'll just let the community spend millions of dollars to fix their own problems, as they've been telling them to do forever. And then they'll just collect skins. It's fine.
Skill level, but then you run into the problem where you're just kind of stomping through people. So before the cheating problem really even took off, some of you that watch me regularly stream know this, but if you do not, I stopped playing Premiere a week or two before they even started updating Premiere and before the cheating problem.
I'm guessing that is Face It. So he's literally showing you why it doesn't work. You know? when the top 10,000 players or top 25,000 players don't play, you can't get the data to fix the problems.
Kind of like really felt like it ramped up, and that's just because the game.
This is actually where I realized this. It seems like the community does not understand this.
500 every game when you're
so that's why I think this is a worthwhile video to make.
On the high end, that's happening to people on the low end.
See, and that's also the other problem, right? Is that once the low end people that don't understand that you need to switch to Face It get to the Face It point, they're either going to switch to Face It or blah blah blah. But this distribution, you can see where everybody switches to Face It. I pointed it out. It's 13K. So and okay, and then here's the other idea, right? This is the exact same elo system as Dota. The only difference is the floor, the bottom of it is stuck at 1K. In Dota, you can get to 0. I've seen it, and I've played with it. It's terrible. But all that means to me is that the upper bound for the really, really good high-end player, I think the highest MMR in Dota right now is probably like 12K, almost 13. So add 1,000 to that. You should be the best player in this whole entire rank system. This shouldn't go to 30K. The top of this should maybe hit 15. Maybe. The only reason that this goes on like this is because all of these people have a win rate that's not achievable. Like, I think at 15K is where it's like a 70+% win rate. Beyond that, you can't play competitive games and have a 60+% win rate. So 15K is right at that 60% win rate. If you go in and play the game for 2 months, it goes from 30K down to an actual bell curve that ends at 15K. VAC and give it 2 months, the VAC system will work, but you have to get everybody off Face It and only play the game for a couple months. Like, that's how you fix this. But I don't think that the community knows that.
Of the ranking, and that's not just loss streaks, it just happens. But what makes it feel worse is the leaderboard actually feels like it would be fun if it worked the way that it was supposed to.
I got ahead of myself.
I love how the veto system works. It was something that in Seattle I mentioned to them because it was already in CSGO, and I told them, I was like, this is great. You guys should use this. And, obviously that interview came out of them.
This is how that meeting went at Valve after Fl0m told them that. Hey guys, we should deploy this feature for Premiere. Fl0m told us to do it. It'll make everybody want to watch it or play it. And everybody said they have Face It. They're never going to play our in-game house. Why would we waste our time with that? Just let them buy cases. We should just focus on making sure that they buy billions of dollars worth of hats. And then there was some programmer in the corner that said, no, I believe in Fl0m. They'll at least try it for a couple weeks. Imagine his disappointment when they didn't.
Being surprised that Premiere was so popular also just kind of goes to show that maybe they missed the mark with Premiere overall. And I think to kind of wrap up my initial thoughts on that, I know that was pretty long-winded. Excited the game was out, but man, do I just feel like they missed a really big opportunity to just capture matchmaking again. And it feels like we just don't have a good matchmaking system once again in Counter-Strike.
It's flawless. It's absolutely flawless. Stop playing Face It for 2 months, and you'll know that it's flawless too.